Delta Television, on behalf of the board, management and staff of Delta Broadcasting Service, I welcome you to today's edition. My name is Ugaga Ekama and I'm your host, and I'm delighted to have you join us this lovely Thursday morning, the 22nd day in the month of January 2026. Today on Morning Night, we've got for you a newspaper review. I'll be joined by our newspaper analyst Bonnie Akeza, and also have an interview for you. Well, of course, it's been an interesting week with all that's happening. First of all, the Labour Party, there's a whole lot. Next year, 2027, happens to be the year for general elections, and 2026, of course, will be year for campaigns. And everybody, political parties, trying to put their house in order. Sometime last week, we saw the son of the former vice president of the country. I'm talking about the son of Atiku Abubakar, defecting from the PDP to the APC. Meanwhile, his father defected from the PDP to the ADC. However, Atiku said, of course, Nigeria is a democratic nation, and the son has the right to do whatsoever he wishes. And now, the saga plaguing the Labour Party has continued as the Justice Abure-led Labour Party and the leadership has been dissolved according to the Federal High Court in Abuja. So yes, of course, Julius Abure and his team, they said that they are going to appeal, make an appeal for that, going to the appeal court to see what happens. And also with Kaduna, the insecurity and all of that that's playing out now, the Christian Association of Nigeria has come out to condemn the police communication over the abduction of some worshippers that happened on Sunday. Now, when this happened and it was reported, the Kaduna State government and the Kaduna State Police Command came out to debunk the situation. However, later police spokesperson Benjamin Hundeyin came out to confirm that this eventually happened, and it was giving excuses for all of this, saying that it's because they needed to be sure of the facts before putting out a statement there. But if you're uncertain, then do not refute, neither should you confirm. Not like a story is already out there, reports are out there already, and you are yet to confirm. You are not certain yet, and you're coming to debunk, because these are lives involved. Now, all of that has happened, and of course, we hope that these kidnapped victims eventually find their way home. And, well, in the world of sports, we have something interesting as Algeria's Zidane, their goalkeeper, and another player, Belgali, banned over Nigeria AFCON scuffle. We saw what happened with that knockout game between Nigeria and Algeria. After the game, there was a scuffle, and something similar also almost played out, or played out in the finals. However, it was between Senegal and Morocco this time. So when you consider the AFCON, I don't think that this AFCON 2025 really puts Africa under or glamorized Africa, and that's why, especially now, people are talking about the referees and all of that debate, whether the referees were being fair or they were biased towards first of all, biased towards North African countries and biased towards the host, Morocco. So this is something that CAF needs to consider, and they need to do a review of how this went. Of course, I know they will definitely do a review, but I'm not just saying that it should just be a review, a gathering of persons without actual implementation, so that subsequent AFCONs will see the improvement that was done and all of that, because that's why they talk about spirit of sportsmanship. You should be able to lose, and even if you have, you feel, yes, of course, football is a passionate game, and passions tend to fly, emotions flying here and there, but you have to put it in control, irrespective of how you feel after a game, the pitch, or trying to involve yourself in altercations or scuffles. That's not the best way to resolve any of these issues. However, CAF slamming them, I think that it's a good one for those players that showed dissent or were not properly disciplined. Another thing is that nations also have to put their players and also their fans in check, because we've also seen situations where after a game is played and a team loses, we see the fans infiltrating the pitch, trying to attack players of the other team. All this should not happen. Football is a game of passion, but at the same time, football is a game that brings bond of unity. So let's not take that away. So these are many more we'll have for you this morning on the Morning Ride. So we'll go on a short break, and when we return, it will be time for newspaper review. Please stay tuned.
All right, so welcome back to the studio. Now we're talking about government policies and approaches towards property agents, inflation, and house deficit. I've been joined by Honorable Agunwa Chibuzo, aka Mr. Dash, Supervisory Councillor on Special Duties, Oshimili South. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Dash. It's been a while.
Yeah, sure.
All right, welcome.
Yeah.
So, let's go straight to what's happening. Government policies and approaches towards property agents. This is a topic that everybody will be interested to listen and to watch as well. Now, first and first, can you briefly share with us your perspective on the current housing situation in Delta State? Then we can talk about Oshimili South. Of course, Asaba, and how it reflects the wider national trend. Just before we talk about the bill that the House of Assembly has been working on at the moment. What's your perspective?
Well, at first, Delta, like the slogan is, the big heart, and of course, it's open to accommodate as much inflow of guests as possible.
Okay.
And because of the habitant nature of the people of Delta State, it's so welcoming that every person wants to come and invest and live. And because the inflow is becoming so high, therefore, it's affecting the number of housing available for the visitors to be. So, as a result, it becomes like an economic situation here. When the demand becomes higher, of course, the price increases. Okay. So, and the rent increases. The renters, of course, everybody wants to cash out. They took advantage of the situation that there's no good or enough housing to accommodate the visitors. So the few ones that is under their control, they make it to be as if it's a bazaar where you do the highest bidder. And of course, sometimes the landlord might not even know what is playing behind. At the end of the day, the landlord will take. There is some of the landlord. At the end of the day, it will cut to issue of increment in rent, a vazilious increment in rent. Because I know some years back, apartment in Asaba, like a one-room self-con, used to be between 80, 100, 120,000. Yes. And at a point, it catapulted to 250, 300. People were like shouting, and nobody knew that rent for a one-room self-con can get to 800,000 or even $1 million in some areas.
In some quarters.
Yes. So it becomes an issue of great concern.
It is.
And that has led to the investigation to know what actually happened.
And that's what brings me to the next question. As supervisory counselor on special duties,
Yes.
and of course, I want to know your role. What does your office play? What role does your office play in addressing issues around housing and the policy or property regulation generally in the local government?
Yes. The truth is that we at the local government, we are playing a pivotal role to ensure that housing is moderate. But you know, most times we as government, we might not be there physically to, witness transactions. And from our little intervention so far and the investigation we have done, we understood that the renters actually pad up some money to the actual rent for an apartment. And we frowned at it as local government, and even the state also frowned at it.
Okay.
So they don't find it funny, and this caused the issue of putting to play the House of Assembly to step in to see what they can do to, cushion the side effects of this high rate of housing in Asaba in particular.
Talk to us about that bill. It has passed second reading.
Yes, and I want to use this opportunity to, give a very big kudos to the Delta State House of Assembly, because they have done a great job. In governance, it's not all about infrastructure. There are some legitimate, intervention you do to help the populace, and this is one of them. And the Executive Governor of Delta State, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborevwori, I believe in his own wisdom, has called the attention of the House to look into this matter and possibly, furnish activities that will regulate the actions of the renters in Delta State, Asaba in particular. And for me, I know that it's paramount that every member of this association, identifies with both the national body, state and local government body of the National Association of Realtors. So, and if they so do, we'll be able to have a profile information of the members, and training, of course, should be paramount, so that they will know the ethics, the guidelines on how to take up their responsibilities.
All right, let's talk about monitoring and licensing. Do you see that as a possibility? Because sometimes you don't even know how many agents because you don't know if they are licensed. You see an agent, you go to Abu Junction, so many places that, in fact, they don't have an office, but they have places where they are stationed.
Okay.
And so when you're house hunting, you just see them. Oh, you are looking for us. Let's go. There's no ID card. I don't know if that should also be checked, because before you become a house agent, or you should be licensed. They're supposed to be registered. If that should also be a plan, is that the work of the the House of Assembly, or the local government? How is this monitoring going to happen?
Well, it's always in three tie. Okay, because governance without grassroots is like a flying bird without perching. Okay. So at this point, every local government should know the renters within their LGA.
Okay.
So that if you are to, give account or to regulate the activities, of course, the local government should be able to have a first-class information of what is happening in their local government. So I'm using Asaba as a case study.
Yes.
All the rectors in Asaba must, identify with the local government. And the local government is supposed to have a documentary profiling of every rector operating in its LGA. So the licensing aspect is paramount. You cannot operate without a license. And it's issuable via the state cum local government. It's usually a collaborative. Normally, there are supposed to be a commission for rectors. The House of Assembly should look into that aspect, to have a commission for rectors in Delta State.
Realtors or agents? They have realtors, they have agents.
No. Agents, anybody can be called agent, but rectors are specifically for real estate management. Okay? And what they are doing is just the same thing that real estate management does. Because a real estate manager, the responsibility is to, stand in to negotiate, secure a land for you, secure a house for you, secure whatever things that has to do with property engagement. Okay? And of course, at the end of the transaction, certain percentages is being paid. But in this particular class of the so-called agents, for instance, which are not supposed to be, because this law should be able to scrap that element of being agent. As a rector, you're supposed to have an organized office. You are not supposed to, running your agency as a tout. That is why most times you see cases in the police station here and there that somebody has been paid for services he has not rendered, issues like that. But if you have a corporate office and you are licensed, you wouldn't compromise in your services. Rather, you'll be focused on your commission. As such, if you fail to do, you risk your license, and nobody wants to risk his or her license for any reason.
That's right.
Yeah. So
okay, so let me play the devil's advocate. I'm not but on inflation and its impact. Inflation, I know, you and I know that it has greatly affected the cost of building materials. Some landlords would say, especially those building now, they will tell you that a bag of cement, you know how much a bag of cement is in the market now. How is government, or how are you, people in government planning the policies that will also benefit them, and that will mitigate challenges for both the landlord and the person renting the house?
Okay.
Are there plans for the landlord as well?
Well,
the developers.
Yes, it is not the responsibility of government to fix prices for rent.
Yeah.
But it is the responsibility of government to intervene in housing scheme. Okay. Now, if, for instance, government decided to look into housing, and say, for instance, in Asaba, and they made provision of 5,000 units of housing for the residents in Asaba.
Right.
And they can subsidize it. Okay. They will know that one room apartment is like 700,000. Okay. Government will say, okay, if you are taking this place, you pay 300,000. Okay. So, having done so, you will know that if 100 people are looking for housing, more than 70 would like to go and get that one immediately. Do you understand? 300. Therefore, 30% will just be available for others in the town. Okay. You have a home, you have a house to rent, I have a house to rent. We will drag the person who is looking for house, not the person dragging us. So I would like to rent mine first, you would like to rent yours first. If I'm having mine at 700, yours is 700, I can quickly say, okay, for me to first and rent out, you pay 500. You see, the price is now crashing. Yeah. So it's like